Alright, so in this video we're taking a look at the Firefly X Lite camera. This one I picked up from Maker Fire because I guess a lot of you guys were really interested in this camera. It's a sort of a budget naked GoPro, comes in at $129. Has similar dimensions to the Beta FPV V2 case in this dimension right here on the side, so we'll slide into a lot of these pre-made mounts that are meant for the V2 case, and that's what I flew it on this one. I also flew it on the 95X V3, which comes with a different mount like this, and it does come with this, includes this mount here, which you can use your standard GoPro style two-prong mount like this, and the camera will just slide in like this. We'll go in this way. It's a little tight, going like that. That works pretty well for the standard GoPro mount, but if you have these other mounts for like the 95X V3, you have to use the other side, which is over here in the back. And it goes in upside down right there. You just use a screw, obviously, to tighten it down and hold your angle, but then your image is going to be flipped. You can actually use a button press to flip your image. I'll show you that here in a second. But let's just show you how much this weighs first, because it's a little heavier than your normal GoPro or naked GoPro. So let me take the ND filter off. And it's 34.2 grams. And this is the Hero 6 in the Beta FPV V2 case. This is 26.1 grams, so still heavier than a traditional naked GoPro. And by the way, this that's 129 without the ND filter. You can get an ND16 filter that's made by this company, and it's I think it's like $5 more or something like that. I forget. I did not get that, so I'm using the Beta FPV ND filters. That's the ones that fit the V2 case. They also fit this case as well. So if you happen to have these already, then yeah, these will fit onto this case. Yeah, so basically they're kind of making this useful for anything that you might be using in terms of this V2 case in comparison. Now, the things that are different is, if you look at the back here, it's a little bit longer, and then where this little back part here sticks out a little bit further, so when you stick it in this mount here, it doesn't go all the way in like the Beta FPV case. So that's the most it'll go in, so your lens is going to be a little bit further off axis compared to the V2 case. I'm sure someone will create some mounts for this on Thingiverse that will readjust for that, but if you use this mount, I think it keeps the lens a little bit more closer to the center. And then this little mount piece here, I'm sure you guys are wondering, that weighs 6.5 grams. That's not light, so it does add a fair amount of weight. You also get this lens hood. If you don't want to use the ND filter, you can put this on, and that will cut down on some of the lens flare. Obviously, you can't. I don't think you can use this and the ND filter together. Let me see here. Actually, I haven't tried that. So put this hood on, and we'll stick the. Yeah, this ND filter does not go on, so you can use one or the other. So you get this connector here. This is a 1.25 millimeter pitch connector. Goes into the side here, and see it says 5 volts. So there's no BEC on this naked GoPro or on this particular camera. So it has to be supplied by 5 volts, either through this cable. So don't make a mistake and solder this to your battery leads like you would for the naked GoPro. You will fry the camera. It's got to be 5 volts only, so be careful of that. If you happen to use this, you have to solder this to 5 volt regulator on your flight controller. It does, I think this camera uses up to 1 amp, so you need a strong 5 volt regulator, otherwise you'll have problems with the flight controller resetting in the middle of your flight. So yeah, that won't be good. But what they offer here is this. They include this little BC adapter in the package. So this will work with, I think, 2 to 6S batteries, and then it outputs 5 volts on this USB-C connector, which is on the side of the camera here. This is also where the SD card slot is. So this one is also a little bit tricky to use because you don't want to fry stuff. These pins are not keyed, so you can put this in potentially backwards into your battery, and you'll have a really bad day if you do that. Well, let me show you how much this weighs. This is all part of the flying weight if you happen to use it in this setup. This is also 6.1 grams. Let's say put the camera on, and this might, if you use it like this, this is 40, almost 47 grams. So yeah, and then if you use an ND filter, and now we're hitting 48.4. So this is kind of more like a realistic weight of using all the equipment. Okay, but the way you use this BEC adapter is there's a negative sign right here and a positive right there. And that's how it goes onto the balance lead. So basically, usually your balance lead will be marked here, the negative over here, and then some other colors, and usually the red on the right. And so you want to plug in the this into the negative side here. Don't do it like this. I did it like this. So you can also put it in backwards, which would be bad. This is the one that worked for me. I don't know if there's any reverse polarity protection on this circuit board or not. I did not test that. I didn't want to start a fire, so I didn't do that. So put that in. You get a green light. It does also show you in the manual that this is how you should install it. So just do it like this and not any other way. There's there's 3 other potential ways you can plug it in, and only one is correct. The other 3 are incorrect. So the incorrect way is either nothing will happen, you'll have no power, or at worst you'll have a fire. So just do it this way. And you go green light, means everything's working. And then you plug it into the camera. The camera will turn on. So if you power on from the USB-C port, the camera powers on automatically as soon as you give it power over here. If you have this, if you use the other plug here and you have powered off your flight controller, when you power in your quad, the camera does not turn on off of this side. So you do have to press the power button to turn it on. So to record, you just press the record button and it starts recording, and then your green light's flashing. Stop recording. Press the green button again and it'll stop flashing. It means you're not recording. There's 3 resolutions on this, 4K 60, 2.7K 60, and 2.5K or 1440p 60. The only mode that has electronic image stabilization is the 1440p or the 2.5K mode at 60 frames per second. There's no 30 FPS as far as I know. There is a app you can connect to via Wi-Fi using like a Android or iOS app. Now the links that they give you in the manual, if you go to the Google Play Store and try and search for it, it's not there. If you use a QR code to go to the Google Play Store, it shows that it can't find it. So you have to go to their website and download the app and then install it, turning off your security. I put it on, like, I have like a tablet that I use specifically for like sketchy apps. I put it on that one to test it out. Just look at the app and I'll show you here what it looks like kind of quickly. Yeah, you can change the settings. I think the settings that are default on this are probably the best, and I would not even bother messing with the Wi-Fi settings. Now if you do want to happen to do that, like I recommend against it, if you do turn the Wi-Fi settings on, you sure press the power button. And it should beep. And you get a blue light here, it means Wi-Fi is on. Turn it off, short press, and then the Wi-Fi will turn off. If you want to flip the image, you long press the power button and I'll flip the image, and then again vice versa if you want to use the mount upside down. To switch the different resolution modes, so right now it's in 4K 60. If you want to switch it to the other resolution modes, you long press the record button, not short press it. If you short press it, it'll record, so long press it. You get 3 beeps. That's the 2.7K mode. Press it again. 4 beeps is the 2.5K mode. 2 beeps is the 4K mode. So the difference in terms of the field of view, so basically here's a comparison. The 4K field of view is similar to the 4K wide field of view on a typical GoPro, like GoPro 6 or GoPro 7, but it's less than Super View on those. Now if you go to 2.7K on this camera, it simulates the field of view of the GoPro 6 or 7 in Super View, but the bit rate is lower and the image quality is lower. Plus, it doesn't do like a true Super View. It just does like a linear stretch of a 4:3 aspect image across a 16:9 video container. So the center of the image is distorted. So I would not use 2.7K. 2.5K is electronically stabilized, and that's the only mode that's electronically stabilized. But it crops in the image like 20%, maybe 25%. So your field of view shrinks considerably in 1440p. And the image stabilization isn't very good. You still get a lot of jitters and wobbles. So what I recommend is what I did is when I flew it on the Cine up here, which is I think was what you are targeting here for these guys, is some sort of a Cine up, something lighter. Because obviously, if you're going to put this on something bigger than carry heavier cameras, just carry a regular GoPro. It's kind of pointless. So if you're trying to fly this on like something like a Cine up and something lighter, just fly it in the default mode. It comes in 4K 60. Fly it like that, and then I would use some sort of post-processing image stabilization. So what I did here is I took the footage, which is not stabilized out of the camera, so you get a lot of jitters and wobbles, of course. And then in Adobe Premiere, I used warp stabilizer. I think I applied like a 7 or 8% stabilization to the image, and now it turns out it looks pretty decent. So it takes out a lot of those jitters when you do that, and it's decent. Now, in terms of the image quality, it's not as good as a GoPro. It's very typical in terms of the Chinese action camera style. Way too much saturation, way too much contrast, way too much sharpness. So and those can't be really reduced. I think those settings are already at its optimum. So whatever these guys do, they just constantly are over processing the image. The image could be better if they applied less processing. And there's no flat picture profile on this camera like you can on a GoPro. So it's lacking a lot of things there. But this is a trade-off, right? You're looking for something that's going to cost you less money at $129. You can't expect to get the same value and quality that you get on a full-size a traditional GoPro, or in this case a naked GoPro. So in terms of you're probably going to see a lot of stuff in the comments. There's going to be people that watch this video and they definitely have exited the video. They're not watching this point, but I'm sure they're going to leave a comment saying that this camera is no good and you shouldn't get it because the naked GoPro is better. And well, yes, it's better, but is it better in terms of value proposition, right? So here, let me explain. When you're trying to get these little naked GoPros, they don't sell these at the stores. You can't just buy them anywhere. You can buy them used secondhand from people that are selling them, and they don't usually aren't that cheap. And then you can make these yourself. You can acquire a Hero 6 or 7 from eBay or some other place and tear it down and make one yourself. But I can tell you that it's not going to be cheap because I've done several of these. I've done 5 of these actually. I currently have only 1.5 that are working, one that works well, and one that kind of works well half the time. So I have 1.5 out of 5. One actually I had 3, and I had 2 working, and I crashed one, and that one died. And then 2, I probably should not have bought those GoPros from eBay. I converted them, and one was dead on arrival as soon as I tore it down, didn't turn on anymore. And then the second one worked for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 flights, and then it stopped working. And it's probably because I got them from eBay. So, all in all, I've probably invested, I don't know, dozens of hours of my time into creating these, and I'll spend a lot of money, probably in excess of $1,200 total in terms of all the cameras I bought, and I have 1.5 working naked GoPros right now. So, is it worth it? You know, it really depends. You know, so you're going to see people say in the comments, "Yeah, I just buy it for $120 on eBay." You're going to take a chance. I don't recommend eBay at all. It's a you don't know what you're going to get over there. And I bought two and ended up with pretty much useless products that didn't do it. I basically just threw my money away. And so I don't recommend eBay at all. You might be able to acquire them on Amazon. They do occasionally come out on Amazon. The other three that were working, I get from Amazon. I obviously killed one, and then I have now. So the 1.5 that are working still, I converted, are actually from Amazon. That one I can trust, but right now I checked today, and there aren't any available in terms of renewed Hero 6s. There you can go to the Hero 8, but you know that's I think it's a little bit more, and then that's a whole other ball of wax. I don't want to get into that here in this video, but this is basically, they're offering this as a alternative to this. It's cheaper. You don't have to build it. You don't have to spend a lot of money wasting money breaking stuff. But the image quality is lower. The question is it good enough for you? It depends. You know, if you're posting it to Facebook, Instagram, you know, and maybe most of the people that are watching your stuff is watching it on lower resolution screens like smartphones, etc. This is gonna be fine. You know, I personally don't like the image. It's way over sharpened, way too much contrast, way too much saturation. But the upside is you don't have to do any kind of color correction or anything like that on this. It just comes, you know, nice and vivid out of the camera, and way too much in my opinion. But that's a subjective thing. Anyway, last thing before I go is this company is, you probably know as Hawkeye, and yeah, here it is on the box. So this is not the same Hawkeye that you guys probably know in terms of the other cameras that they make, and also their like FPV monitors and stuff like that. They are apparently, they've taken the branding and the name, and including the Firefly name, they've created like a whole like series of cameras, and most people think it's the same company, but it's not. So I actually know the owner of the real Hawkeye company, and he says that because of well, it's confusing to me. I couldn't really get a clear explanation, but basically that other company started soon after the coronavirus hit, and there was like all these lockdowns over there, and I guess he got stuck in Hong Kong, and he can't go back to China to protect his trademark, I guess, or his name. So yeah, if you're wondering if this is the real company, it's actually another company that just uses their name, and somehow that's going to probably get corrected at some point later. Just letting you know. Yeah, that's the whole background. That I don't want to get into the politics of all that stuff, because I honestly don't fully understand everything myself. All I know is that that's not the same company. So I'll just share that. You guys can decide what to do on your own with that information. Okay, so more links down in the video description to the full flights and everything, and you guys can make your own decision as to what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.